ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I go back in.
Okay.
Welcome to Geek Zone Wrestling. And, okay, I think I broke Danny.
Just
A podcast by wrestling fans who just want to talk wrestling. A little, just to start off this week, we're going to do a little current events because, wow, what a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ton to unpack. A lot happened.
The Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, for one thing, has been expertly planned out from, the Clash at the Castle. The thing with Punk coming in as the referee, 1, 2, and then he stops. McIntyre looks over and Punk's just over there like, only 2. Haha, it was me. McIntyre ends up losing. Goes to Raw. I quit. Leaves. And then on Friday night SmackDown, garage door opens up. Punk's laying there. McIntyre's standing over him.
Carries him out to the stage. Throws him off his shoulders. Does the whole CM Punk kneel thing.
Punk's all bloodied. And did you notice that they even put stuff on McIntyre's knuckles to make it look like he was in fact just beating the crap out of him?
Yeah, I did.
The attention to detail was awesome.
And the other thing I really like, and this was a really subtle thing, McIntyre turned around and pulled off a bracelet
that had AJ.
Yeah,
and there was some other name on there I didn't catch,
but he pulled that bracelet off and put it in his pocket before Nick Aldis came out and started screaming at him and pushing him and all that.
But it was just one of those things that raised the
it raised the tension.
Thank you, tension.
It raised the bar for that game.
And it's on a more personal rivalry than just for a title or something like that, making it top notch.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, WWE is firing on all cylinders. I mean, especially with that storyline and some of the other storylines going on right now.
Not only that, but you also had the Punk crossing over with the Bloodline.
Smackdown, yeah.
With him with Paul Heyman.
I loved every second of those segments. Oh my God, I was dying.
And Heyman, that guy, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I am a Paul Heyman guy. Because as a manager, as a GM, as a personality,
as an actor, dude, he deserves an Oscar for what he did on Friday night.
Not just that, but throughout all of his managing, being at ringside, just his facial expressions alone sell the shit out of everything.
That's what got me about him this week.
Okay, but not even this week. Look back. When Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker for the streak, Heyman made it seem like he was just as surprised as everybody else.
He did.
He knew it was going to happen, but he's just like, oh my God, Brock actually won. And that was, what, going on 10 years ago now?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he is an unbelievable actor. He has got it.
And he knows the business. He has just the mind of, as Vince once told him, make me money.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I don't sound like Vince McMahon, but he knows how to get a reaction. He knows how to get a rise. He knows what sells. And he knows how to market it. And his face does that in spades.
Yes, it does. I loved how he came down to the ring and he looked like a scared little kitten.
Take me with you?
That hit me so hard. I was like, Oh my god! And he said it right in front of Solo.
Not only that, but like CM Punk looks over and Solo gives him this look like, "What'd you just fucking say?" Like everybody sold the shit out of that. Oh man, that was
And then Cody coming out with the old school baseball bats, hands one to CM Punk. I mean, that whole genre was played off so beautifully.
and then it leads to later in the night, well actually to end the night basically. Jacob Fatu finally debuts, basically cracks Cody in half, puts like, 500-pound Samoan bastard right through him, through a table,
Put
through the
Kevin
floor.
Owens on the steel stairs. Put Randy Orton through the barricade. I mean, and I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big fan of no cells, but the no cell he did with the super kick, I was like, oh my god, this dude's for real.
Yeah. I'm not big on no cells unless it's one of those situations where it's like Ultimate Warrior versus uh at the time
Honky Tonk Man.
at the time it was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He delivers the pedigree, Ultimate Warrior just jumps right up.
Yeah,
There was no need for that.
there wasn't.
Just have him kick out of the pin. But if there's a moment where that no sell is like, for example, with Hulk Hogan, how he would do the
The
powering up
hulking
thing.
up.
If there was something like that where you no sell a move and it like gets you riled up. If it's the right guy, it can work.
Well, and I'll be honest, I feel like WWE is really pushing Fatu hard because I mean he literally took down three of the biggest names in the business right now.
Well, if you think about it, he's probably the new enforcer.
Right,
So they would need. That's basically what happened with Solo.
right.
So they're basically rebuilding it, hopefully, so that Roman can come back and help tear it down.
So what do you make of the vignette right before that match where Heyman is in with Solo and Heyman's telling him, "Hey, CM Punk is hands off. That was an agreement when Roman Reigns got on his jet after WrestleMania. And Cody Rhodes, you're not supposed to be dealing with that. You're just supposed to keep him in check so that when Roman Reigns comes back."
Roman isn't coming back.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Well, I think it's bullcrap because they keep announcing that Roman is going to come back. But I think that was basically Solo saying, I lead the bloodline now. I'm the tribal chief now. If Roman, you know, wants it back, he's going to have to take it from me. It's establishing Solo is the new head heel. So that when Roman comes back, he's like, yo, what are you doing?
I'm thinking
I'm doing what you never could.
I'm thinking it's going to lead to a whole nother story because uh, I happen to be on social media all over the place, and I saw recently that right after Seth Rollins came back, matter of fact, Roman Reigns all of a sudden showed up, and he unfriended Solo on Instagram. He unfollowed him. I'm thinking that's going to play into this whole story. There's got to be a reason he did that.
Yeah. It's because he does not like what happened in his absence. And, Solo is disgracing the family, something like that. And I am so anxious. I never thought I'd say this, but I am so anxious for Roman Reigns to come back so that I can see what's going to happen next.
Yeah,
I have not been excited for the Bloodline story since Sami Zayn,
right.
and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
A little over because the Um, WrestleMania 39 was when the Usos lost to Zayn and Owens.
Right.
So
It
roughly
was
2 years.
slightly before that when they ousted Sammy and
Yeah, it was Royal Rumble
yeah, I think it was because
2023.
well, no, it wasn't Rumble. I think
No, that was when it was Owens versus
Reigns.
Reigns,
Yeah,
and they wanted, Sammy was saying, he's taken enough. You don't need to do this. He's like, you're right.
you
You
do
do
it.
it.
Yeah, and
And
then
then Zayn's
Jay's
like,
caught in the corner, just turmoiled as hell.
no, you finally got me to trust you, and then you do that. But I think like if they play this right, Roman will come back and he will view Solo as this thing that he created, and he will look back and realize, this is not what I wanted. I was wrong, and I'm out to right my wrong. And I think that that would be a really good storyline. Hopefully, this time Roman will be actually. I don't want to say that he wasn't a good face before, but he just.
He wasn't. He wasn't a good face before. He really just his whole storyline was terrible.
But
He wasn't into it.
that wasn't. He was a good face. He wasn't, you know,
The
Roman
face.
Reigns heel level face.
Yeah, he wasn't the face.
Um, but after the work he did as the heel, I'm interested in seeing how he does as a face, especially if he's able to come in and align with Cody. If he's now on Cody's side because he has respect for Cody for what Cody did at Mania. If he comes back and he's now, you know, patched things up, quote unquote, with Rollins, it's like, hey, you hit me in the back with the chair, I hit you back in the chair. We're square.
Yeah.
That rhymed. Like if he has those guys with him and he's still on the same level that he was at when he was head of the table, it could be good.
Well,
Especially if you have Paul Heyman in the mix, that guy can turn anything into gold.
so here's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that when Roman comes back, he brings the Usos back together, and he ends up fighting Solo, not just for head of the table, but for Paul Heyman's soul.
What is he, Paul Bearer now?
Well, I mean, you get what you get what I'm getting at, though, right?
Yeah.
Because like Solo owns Heyman now, and Heyman is petrified. He's terrified. He's a hostage. So Roman comes back to save Paul Heyman,
You always did well by me, wise man.
right? Especially after the whole "take me with you,"
Take me with you.
and then the subsequent uh,
Ass
vignette.
whooping.
Well, I mean, Solo said, you're going to need to go to Tama and Tonga and tell them that Randy Orton and KO are not to win their qualifiers. And then when you get back, wise man, you and I have to have a talk. So I can't help but feel like part of this is going to be about Paul Heyman getting rescued.
Yeah.
Who is with Roman Reigns is going to be the question mark because
Oh, you know what would be pretty awesome?
bring it.
Who has Paul Heyman just absolutely, no matter who he's managing, found himself on the opposing corner of?
On the opposing corner of?
Mm-hmm. Who has every person that he has managed faced?
Let's see. He's managed Lesnar. Lesnar went up against Reigns quite often.
No, no,
Rollins.
no, 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 no. Think, the big three, at least. He also managed Big Show, who also went up against this man. Punk, Lesnar, Reigns. All three had big rivalries with one man. Not picturing it?
No,
You can't see him in your head?
it's not Rhodes because Rhodes
You
wouldn't
can't see
back.
him in your head?
Cena?
Cena.
No.
Wouldn't that be funny if Cena ends up helping save Heyman?
Cena's retiring though.
But think about how unexpected that would be.
Oh, that's true. And I mean, he did show up at Mania.
Yeah, but I'm not saying, Cena's part of the whole storyline. Like, when it comes to fruition, say SummerSlam, if Cena were available, if not, Survivor Series, whatever, Cena comes in and helps just a complete twist of fate.
No, that's Matt Hardy.
Ha. But I mean, he was against Roman before he became the tribal chief. He was against Roman after he became tribal chief for the Universal Championship.
Yeah,
He helped Cody against Roman Reigns
at
and
Mania.
the bloodline. To have him end up aiding Roman Reigns to save Paul Heyman against the new bloodline.
The irony is ironic.
It would be something that not everybody is going to think of or expect.
That's true.
And that's why I think it would be cool, because it's one of those things where you're like, no.
Well, I also, and we were just talking about this before the podcast.
It would be like when Stone Cold Steve Austin, sided with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Like, you're just sitting there like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, like I said, we were talking about this before the podcast, but what if he comes back with Rollins and Ambrose? I get that Ambrose is under contract and all that, but what if they find a way to make it happen? And the Shield.
The thing that, if like the Shield was with the Usos, like, that would more or less even things out. But if it's just the three Shield guys against this new bloodline, which is basically established as, we're just going to beat the crap out of everybody, I don't think that you can bring back the Shield at this point and have them, like, hey, they've been apart for all this time. Now all of a sudden they're a perfect cohesive unit again. I don't think that would work all that well, unless, say the Usos, hey, the brothers patch things up. It's like, yeah, we fought, whatever, but you're still my brother.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is, the Shield comes out, starts trying to dismantle the bloodline. The bloodline gets the better of them. Then all of a sudden, Jay runs out to even the numbers. Then Jimmy comes out, and then they run into each other, turn and look at each other, and they're like, that. There's that moment, that pause, and then they collectively annihilate the bloodline.
Kind of like how DX reunited against the Spirit Squad.
Right.
Shawn Michaels, starts boom, boom. And then Triple H pedigree, and then they look at each other, and then they think about it for a second, and then they do the X.
Yeah. I think that would be an epic moment.
I remember watching that, and I'm just like, yes. I can't believe it's happening.
Oh, I jumped out of my seat. I was so stoked that DX was back. They were my stable.
Yeah. Now, speaking of stables, how about that debut on Monday?
Wyatt 6. So yeah, this has been
even though there's only 5 of them.
yeah, it's been long alluded to. They've been doing the whole glitchy thing, which I meant to ask you, and I haven't yet. Uh, did you notice that on SmackDown there were an unusual amount of technical difficulties?
Yes.
Like the audio went out on Solo and Heyman, and they kept having these little blackout moments.
I don't know if that was a Wyatt Six thing necessarily, or if it was just like I don't know if that was saying, hey, they're on SmackDown, or just trying to make people think that it was going to happen,
Well, I mean,
because they technically officially aren't on a show right now.
yeah, they're free agents, and they
So
can show up anywhere. Plus, did you catch on to when he said that when Punk said that there was all this extra security for like the Wyatt Six?
uh, I don't remember everything he said.
That was one of the things he mentioned. He or no, it was Heyman that mentioned it. He said, there's all this extra security here, and that's for like the Wyatt Six, but that's not for a bunch of big Samoan pissed off giants. And
Or for Drew McIntyre, apparently.
yeah, apparently. But yeah, the Wyatt Six. I'm halfway thinking that that was kind of a
See,
teaser to
I thought that
SmackDown.
was a hype up. Like, they debuted on Raw, and then they were doing those glitches. So everyone was like, "Oh my god, they're going to come out! They're going to end the show with the Wyatt Six." And then they don't, and everyone's like, oh.
I'm thinking
Like
what's going to happen.
WWE is infamous for making things look like something's going to happen, get you excited for it, and then pull the rug right out from under you.
I'm thinking it's going to happen later. I'm thinking this was a teaser, and they brought out all this security, and now they're going to think, oh, okay, all safe. They didn't show up, and then boom, they're going to show up.
What I love is the fact that the two of the people that have been like officially noted as having been attacked are Chad Gable and Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman tweeted out that he was not there. He tweeted out that he had already left.
No, but he's apparently on the radar,
I guess, but
because I saw somewhere that it said Braun Strowman was a target.
yeah, and I also saw somewhere that
Now, of course,
Carmelo.
that's also
I also saw that Carmelo was, somewhere it was stated that Carmelo was taken out by the Wyatt Six too, but he showed up on the very next show.
yeah. But also, when that happens, lots of people are going to look for clues, and it might not be that it's real. It's just someone saw something, was like, like the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV screen,
Yeah,
and then it turns out that it was just someone looked a little too much into it, because the WWE wanted people to look too much into it.
this is true. That
And
that that could be the
the
case.
thing with Braun Strowman is, because he was a former,
Wyatt family.
you know, it just kind of made it believable.
So let's
Now,
talk about that for
apparently,
a second.
I've seen screenshots. Apparently, there was a like Chad Gable was shown attacked.
He was sitting up against one of those big black boxes that carries, all their tote stuff, and there was blood running down
Yeah.
the side of his head, and all this, that, and
And
the
there was
other.
like a message or something saying, you stop saying thank you or something like that.
I did not see that. What I did see is a couple of rumors about the sixth member, and one of them is that it's Chad Gable.
Really?
Yeah. Uh, one of the rumors is that it's going to be some type of storyline that the Wyatt Six killed him, and he's coming back as some different version of Chad Gable, like almost a slave zombie or something like that, and he's doing their bidding. I've also heard that Braun Strowman could be. I've heard that it could be Nick Aldis.
It's a little weird.
Well, the evidently the Wyatt Six hacked his page, and they put up a bunch of Wyatt Six pictures for his profile and banner and all that stuff.
Ah.
So I've also and then the last one is probably what I believe they're going to run with, more so than any of the other rumors, is that the sixth member is Bray. And I know what you're going to say. He did.
No, well, I mean that's usually what I would say.
But I think
And
they're
this,
going to
what I was
play
going
it
to say,
off.
are they going to make, are going to try and make someone look like Bray,
No.
or put someone in a fiend costume and say, Bray has possessed said person?
I don't know if it's going to be a possessed angle or if it's just going to be one of those angles where we're going to see a lot of supernatural type of stuff happen. Just unexplainable things.
Because see, when it was the Wyatt Six, I was thinking it was going to be six people who are operating from Wyatt's. Like they're going to say, like he had a magic book
Or a control over them of some sort.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed
Plus,
after
has anyone else wondered? You have Uncle Howdy and Sister Abigail. Is there going to be an Aunt Duty? You have Uncle Howdy and Aunt Duty.
Howdy doody.
Yeah.
But the one thing I noticed, and I don't know if this is indicative of needing a sixth member. Did you see how they're literally spelling out Wyatt Six? It's SICK. It's not SIX.
No.
So that doesn't necessarily mean that there are going to be six of them.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is originally.
Yeah, originally it was supposed to be.
I know, like, kind of minus the Fiend, but like originally, also Uncle Howdy was kind of not necessarily aligned with Bray, but kind of antagonizing him. So I don't know what the original storyline was going to be because they never got to play it out.
Right. Sadly.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't the biggest Bray Wyatt fan. I was a fan, but he wasn't like, like, I can't wait till he comes out. It was just, when he was out there, I enjoyed watching him.
I was a big fan of The Fiend. Not so much Bray Wyatt.
My thing with him was I felt like he could do a lot more. Sorry, I hiccuped there. He could do a lot more with less. Like when he talked, I wasn't really all that big on that because I felt his motions and looks were so much better than his dialogue.
I'll be honest. I enjoyed the Firefly Funhouse. I did look forward to seeing that.
I'm not saying that, like if they gave him a microphone, I'd be like, oh. I'm just saying I really enjoyed his physical
abilities.
Well, I mean, he was insanely athletic, especially for a guy his size. But his looks and overall, I want to say acting, but his physical persona.
Okay.
Like, he could just give a look, and you're just like, oh man, like, I don't care what the hell the guy said, that look just did it.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys. His facial expressions, his movements, he knew how to move or look to get that feeling across.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing I liked most about him. And like I said, he wasn't one of those guys where if I knew he was on the card, I was like, oh my god, I need to see this show because he's on it. It wasn't one of those, but I very much enjoyed watching him.
I enjoyed watching him. The only time I felt as though, oh my god, I have to watch this because he's on there was the Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend.
God, he was so freaking funny, and that's I loved when he came back and he had that. They let him have that emotional, like, connect with the fans moment
Yeah,
when he first came back. That was the first time I really felt like I got to see him. You know, like kind of like the Wyndham instead of Wyatt.
right.
And I really enjoyed that because it was new and refreshing.
It was, looking back on it, I'm halfway wondering if he already knew. Because,
Well, he already had the health issues. The problem is he didn't do what he was supposed to.
right,
You know, he was supposed to be wearing the
that machine.
yeah, and he wasn't, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
But I just when he came back and they were doing the whole Uncle Howdy thing, and they had the all the little puppets becoming like actual.
People.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be some like really deep shit. And then he fell into some really deep shit.
Yeah.
But oh man, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens now.
I am too. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they play this whole Uncle Howdy story out in the Wyatt six, not six.
Yeah. No, as in Wyatt six them on everybody.
Yeah.
Um, what else happened? I mean, SmackDown was just a couple days ago, so that's more fresh in my mind. I'm trying to remember Raw.
Raw had their qualifier, which Jey Uso won.
Yeah. Oh, the thing with Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day, Dom and Liv and Damien and
Well, and I love that. You know, like, hey, the thing with Liv's card. Um, yeah, about that. I just wanted to make sure Dom didn't get it. It's in the trash. All right. Well, what happens when you win your Money in the Bank contract or their qualifier? I'm gonna win the championship off of Cody. Like they legitimately seem like a group of really good friends.
they do, but I feel like the way Finn has been lately, he's just being a little too good with Damien. I feel like I feel like there's a real dissension, and what's going to happen is, well, Finn obviously did not win the qualifying match, but I feel like what's going to happen is Finn's going to turn on Damien.
And well, funny thing is, it's kind of been seeming like Judgment Day is somehow going half face, half heel.
They're
And
kind of imploding.
but the weird thing is, like, they've made like little nudges to both Rhea and Damien turning face.
Yes.
And then they're I don't know. The thing with Finn, it's kind of seeming like he's getting primed for another like solo run
I don't know.
because he seems to be standing aside from the rest of Judgment Day.
he he kind of is, but at the same time he's almost acting like he's the one pulling the strings. Like he thinks he's the leader of the Judgment Day, and he's just kind of, when Damien says something, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's great."
Like Damien's just the face.
Yeah. And I don't know. The whole Liv Morgan Dom thing. I'm loving it.
Yeah, she is killing it. I mean, she's got the the flirty thing down. Like it seems like she is legitimately trying to seduce him, and he's just doing this like awkward like, I don't know what to do. I want to do you, but I also want to do mommy, which is really weird sounding.
And like he retweeted her tweet of something about daddy, and he reposted it, or it was thinking of you, daddy, hashtag Dom Mysterio or whatever, and pictures of her with her title and stuff.
Oh, and one thing I loved was there's this new video that has gone viral. There's this girl on the street, and she's like talking about like, you just need to give it a hawk.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And then Liv's like, I'm giving my title a good hawk tweet. It's just like, oh my god, she's playing on this ridiculously viral video that I'm seeing everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like out of the last few days, it's just like every third clip you see, it's got something to do with hawk tweet.
So I gotta ask. Nobody's answered this question yet.
No one's asked this question yet.
Yes, they have.
Who?
Pat McAfee and Michael Cole.
When?
On Raw.
Why?
Because they didn't know the answer.
What?
How
Ow.
did Dom end up with his purple cow vest missing, and it end up in Liv Morgan?
It ended up
on
Liv Morgan?
On Liv Morgan.
What I want to know is he got it back, so how is it missing again?
Well, I mean, how did it go missing in the first place? How did she end up with it?
Clearly, she stole it.
Did she?
Well, if he thought he left it in his bag.
Or did he give it to her? Or were they together and she ganked it from his bag? And how did it come about? How did she end up with it and walk out during that women's match with it on?
But again, they had it to where, she came out, had it, he wanted it back, and he was, and she's like, well, you can have it back.
But you got to take it off
me. And then she's like, here, let me help you.
And then
he's like doing it, and Damien, Dom! I'm just trying to get my vest back. Leave him alone. He wants nothing to do with you. I think he wants everything to do with me. Like, oh man, this storyline is good. Plus, Rhea's injured, and this keeps her relevant because this whole storyline is Liv trying to take everything from her. I mean, this is some long-term storytelling, and they're doing it so well.
They are. And from what I'm hearing, and this is just another rumor so far, that when Rhea comes back, she's not coming back alone.
But again, she's rumored to come back with her real-life fiance, Buddy Matthews, who in WWE was Buddy Murphy, or Murphy, who's under contract with AEW through 2027.
Right. So yes, there's that conflict, like we have with the idea of the Shield coming back. That contract issue, it's a big deal. But what if they can find a way to make it happen?
Especially since the last time he was with WWE, he had a storyline where he was with Aaliyah Mysterio.
Yep.
So it's like, hey, my fiance was banging your sister while I was banging you while you were married. Super weird.
Yeah, I mean, everything that they are doing with this whole storyline would be like a full culmination of it if she comes back with Buddy.
I mean, then like they're gonna have like a mixed tag team match, and it's gonna be like instead of the fans chanting, this is awesome, they'll be chanting Jerry, 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 Jerry.
Would not be surprised at all.
I noticed that Io Sky is once again in a Money in the Bank match.
Yes, she is. She ended up winning that match because of Liv and the distraction that she created.
Um, Going back to SmackDown, the LA Knight versus Santos Escobar versus Logan Paul. Another one that I thought was very well done because they didn't do too much, but still managed to enhance the rivalry between Paul and Knight
Yeah,
while also drumming up a little bit of
turmoil.
you know, next week when they have their um,
The qualifier.
yeah, their triple threat. They also hyped that up.
Yes.
So they, you know, two birds, one stone, and they didn't overdo it.
Yeah, they didn't overproduce it. They didn't overplay it. I think they did exactly what they needed to do. Now, I do have to interject this as far as that storyline goes. I'm going to be unbelievably disappointed if at Money in the Bank, and I'm not saying this is what I think is going to happen, but if LA Knight gets the Money in the Bank and he uses it to cash in on the US title, I will be incredibly disappointed.
Yeah.
That to me is the worst thing they could possibly do.
You mean like what Austin Theory did?
Yes. I think that is a complete and total waste of the Money in the Bank. It defeats the
And LA
purpose,
Knight.
and yeah, and LA Knight. I mean,
Like you give that guy the contract and you don't make him a megastar?
yeah, you don't put him out for the big one.
If anything, that would be just a way to move him over to I don't want to say necessarily move him over to Raw, but uh like give him the World Heavyweight Championship and
Put him in the main
you know,
event scene.
yeah. I don't I think the World Heavyweight Championship would look better on him than the yellow.
I do too, quite
His
honestly.
his outfit would clash with that yellow.
And I could see them doing that with him and Damien. I can't see them putting him against Cody.
I can't either. Um, but the thing with Cody is I'm kind of thinking with him they need to not not give him necessarily a long run, but give him a meaningful loss. Like, you know, not one of these where like with McIntyre how he won the elimination chamber,
And then
then
got
got
cashed
cashed in
in.
on by Miz and lost.
Yeah.
Like that would be a very after everything he went through to get the title, if he loses it, it needs to be a a strong showing with a clean defeat. And it's like, hey, you got the better of me. Let's see what happens now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see another title run for someone that they build up this huge storyline for end in a squash. Like Kofi.
Don't talk about the Kofi thing.
I hated that. I hated every second of it.
And it wasn't just Kofi either. It was most Money in the Bank cash-ins are more or less squashes.
Yeah.
But if the match that preceded said cash in was not a high profile thing, like Kofi Mania was huge. If they were going to have him lose, like fine, but have him show off his stuff, and put everything he has into it, and he just comes up short.
Yeah.
It
It
would have
would have meant
still it
so
would have
much more.
still stung, but I wouldn't have felt robbed.
Yeah. Yeah, they
And
just totally deflated Kofi Mania, which was unbelievable.
and then like thing with Sheamus's cash in on, was it Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
No. I remember Sheamus also facing Roman, and there was confetti around. But it was either him or Orton cashed in on Daniel Bryan. And it's like there was so much build up to Bryan finally succeeding, and then it's just ripped away.
Yep. It was terrible.
It's like the why? Like why?
And I get that it evokes that emotion of what the fuck just happened.
But I hate it when it's like I said with Daniel Bryan, everyone wanted it, and it was it's like, yes, finally. And then it's just ripped away. And it's like all that build up felt like it was for nothing.
Yeah.
We had 2 years of a build up for Cody beating Roman. If they squash it, if they have him lose the way McIntyre did,
It's going to tarnish his title reign.
Yes. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a long title reign, because I feel that, finishing the story kind of made him, he doesn't need to be put over anymore.
Yeah,
the guy's top.
He doesn't need to be, a 3-year champion like Reigns.
No, he doesn't need to be champion in order to be top guy.
Right.
It's like John Cena didn't need to always be champion in order to be the top guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the face of WWE no matter what.
But like the thing with McIntyre, I thought that was perfect, because yes, it took him a while to get that title, but he hadn't really been built up that much on that specific title shot.
No, it was not a long drawn out story to really put him over.
And him losing to Damian Priest set up his feud with CM Punk, which, in all fairness, seems to be a better option right now than it would have been to give him the world title.
Yes, I agree.
Because they are putting on one hell of a show.
They really are. And kudos to CM Punk. I was never a huge fan of his in the beginning, but since he has come back, he's impressed me. On the mic, not in the ring, obviously, because he wasn't there very long. But his promos and the way they're playing this storyline has been fantastic.
He was even good, like at the announce table, or what was it, before WrestleMania? He was doing one of those panels before the show, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was even good on those.
He was, and he's been really, really funny. He's been captivating. I mean, he's made a believer out of me.
What do you think the C in CM Punk stands for?
Okay. But I mean, I didn't like him originally at all. I didn't like him in his first run. I didn't like his character. I didn't like his promos. I didn't like how he wrestled. But since he's been back, I have enjoyed everything that they've been doing.
Am I missing anything from the last week?
There
was the qualifiers.
The Rollins return.
I mean, we all knew it was going to happen.
We just didn't know when. It was kind of a shocker that it happened this Monday.
But I mean, he's not.
And the way he came out, it was a lot different than what we're used to seeing from Rollins.
Yeah.
Like, we're used to seeing the feathery robes, and
And now he's all like kind of fancy.
it reminded me of Shawn Michaels when he fought the Undertaker at Mania, and he was in that all white outfit. It was very, very similar.
See, this one was kind of, it struck me as being not quite royalty, but very upper class,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, all right. But since this was just a promo and not um, hey, let's get into a scuffle thing, he didn't have to really play up his character all that much because everyone's just going to be happy to see him there.
yeah.
And basically, Damian Priest saying, I'll see you at Money in the Bank. I was expecting him to come back. I wasn't expecting him to be wrestling so soon.
I wasn't either. And oh God, I hate to say this. I'm fairly certain they're going to have Priest win, and I'm not going to be happy.
No.
I don't think Priest should beat Rollins. I really don't.
Well, but what they can do is play it off as, he wasn't, he'd had some ring rust.
I still don't like it. I don't want Priest.
Or this could be how Priest falls out with Judgment Day. Because he says, I don't need the Judgment Day. And then they come out anyway. He gets pissed off. And like they get him disqualified or something. It's not a clean win. And he's like, I told you I didn't need you. It looked like he was going to beat you. And then, he delivers a South of Heaven to Finn Balor. And then, you got Dom and McDonough and Carlito just stand there, their mouths agape, like, what just happened? And then you got Carlito, that's not cool. Like that could play up a storyline because then Seth is like, hey, you still didn't beat me fair and square. So he's still, not exactly out of the world title, not race, but
Picture.
yeah. And then you have the Judgment Day continues its crumble, especially if Liv Morgan goes out there to
Save Daddy.
Yeah, play dirty with Dom Dom. He just needs to make sure he wears a condom. And
needs to take a shower so he's not a dirty Dom.
Oh man, he's living wild. But
oh,
that can do 3 different storylines at once because you could either turn Priest face or not, but still have the Judgment Day fall apart. If you did turn him face, then that's a whole new avenue with his character that, we haven't seen in, 3 years?
Since he became part of Judgment Day.
And then, again, Rollins, title scene, you still haven't beat me fair and square. Build up to, say, SummerSlam.
Well, and the thing of it is, we know that they're going to put the belt on Gunther at SummerSlam. They're going to. I mean, that seems pretty clear to pretty much everybody. So,
well, that depends. Because like Kaiser has been interfering in a lot of people's matches, and then maybe doing that to have someone interfere in Gunther's match.
Well, my feeling just is that,
because like he has a guaranteed title shot at SummerSlam.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like having him win the title at Mania would be such a bigger deal for his career.
It would, but Mania is already planned out, from what I'm to understand.
How do we know that he's not already planned?
because it sounds like he's planned to be holding the title at the time of Mania.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's not going to win it. Honestly, I'm surprised they decided to wait until SummerSlam to give it to him.
I am too. But all things are pointing toward him getting the title at SummerSlam. So I don't like this particular build up for Rollins and Priest, because Priest wins, I'm not going to be happy.
No, but I would be kind of ticked off if Rollins won it back only to lose it a month later.
That's exactly what I was about to say. And then I'm not going to be happy.
So no matter what, you're not going to be happy. Unless whoever wins Money in the Bank cashes in right then.
So who do you think is going to win Money in the Bank?
I don't know who all's in it yet.
So far, Andrade, Jey Uso,
Whoa, man.
Carmelo Hayes.
And Mello is money. Oops, sorry. Wrong person.
Wrong Mel.
Wrong Mel, yo.
And then we have the qualifier next week with Escobar, Paul, and Knight.
But see, that's another thing. If they have the Money in the Bank winner cash in at Money in the Bank and then lose to Gunther, that would be dumb because then you would have wasted the briefcase.
What if, and this is just spitballing, I haven't heard anything about this, but what if Gunther gets the title at SummerSlam? Jey Uso wins Money in the Bank, and Jey Uso cashes in on Gunther.
Honestly, if Jay were to cash in, I would want it to be on Cody.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Did you catch what Cody said when they parted ways and Cody went to SmackDown? Until we eat again.
Yes.
That would put Jey Uso on SmackDown, Jimmy, and Solo, and all the rest of them. So if Roman came back,
Bloodline versus Bloodline.
And on top of that, Jey Uso gets the title that the only world title he's been able to basically win, if not for Jimmy. He finally gets to close that chapter, and he's right there with his family versus Cody, the two of them who, became close friends in storyline. I don't know if they are in real life. I feel like that would be such a fitting closing to so many Jey Uso chapters. And then it's like, hey, I'm the champ now. So how can you be tribal chief when I'm the champ? And then like you have Roman and the Usos are like, you know what? We're all tribal chief. We're tribal council.
Ooh. Ooh, that'd be fun. The tribal council. I like that.
So, he had a taste of gold and he wants some more of that. Now all of a sudden I'm craving Girl Scout cookies.
Right?
Yeah.
But, not everybody likes Samoas.
No. Well, I'm just glad that they don't taste like the Samoan people. But I think that we've covered everything that's happened in the past week.
Yeah.
I know usually we try and cover, more wide range things instead of only being like, hey, this is what happened this week. Because, if you're a wrestling fan, most likely you watched. But
this was kind of a big week, and I thought it was, we thought it was something important to talk about because there's a lot of ramifications with what happened this week. So yeah, I think it was necessary.
All right, well, until next time, uh, promo at you later.
Later, y'all.